today with Donald Williams. Everybody give it up for Donald Williams. Donald Williams. Hey. Hey. Hey Donald. Hey, how are you doing today?
Hey man, I'm feeling great, man. I'm just happy to be on. You've been doing some great work with your office hours podcast, man, and it's really an honor to be on today.
Hey, no doubt, no doubt. All right, so look, tell everybody, right? So, you have a very, very interesting story, right? How we'll just go back to that part, right? Because like how you made the transition into tech, you were working your whole life pretty much in non-technical roles, and then you
Mhm.
decided to make that leap of faith. So, if you could, just go ahead and frame that to the audience, right? So they can, see how you came to be where you are right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I basically dropped out of grad school and pursued a career in technology, during COVID. So, today I'll be giving a perspective about how you can, take the skills that you use every day and leverage them into a career, whether it be cybersecurity, information technology, really whatever you want to do in tech. It's all fundamental at the end of the day. Yeah.
All right, all right. So, where are you actually from? Like, where are you from?
Oh yeah, man. I'm from the boot, Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana, to be exact. We got I-49 and I-20, coming through here. So to put it in perspective, I know everybody know about New Orleans. I'm about 5 hours from New Orleans, about 3 hours from Dallas. So right here in the central USA.
So, what is like the like a Shreveport, right? For people that's not familiar, like, is it a small town? Is it a mid-sized town? Is it a large town? Like, what's the population like, the demographics
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that?
So to put it in perspective, as far as size, we're in the top 100 metropolitan as far as size. I mentioned the interstate highway that come through here. So it's I-20, I-49. But to kind of add some more to that, Louisiana is like the third poorest state in the country. So,
Hmm.
we're a top 100 metropolitan in size in the state that's, third from the bottom. So, really big city, really laid back city. You can come here, you can go trail ride. What I mean, you can get you some land, shoot some guns, go fishing. Really enjoy the outdoor life and experience. But at a slow pace.
Okay. So now, right? So now talking about like, so you were we just start. You were in grad school, right? So what school did you go to? As you and what degree were you pursuing?
Yeah, so I was at Louisiana State University here in Shreveport, and I was in the school psychology program. For those that are not familiar with school psychology, it's basically a practice in which you're going inside of the school and you're evaluating children so that you can get them to their optimal, learning levels. A lot of that involves testing, administering tests to the children. So you're collecting data, processing data, transferring data, reformatting, and all that good stuff. Again, with the ultimate goal to make sure that you can get the children on their educational level that they need to be on.
Okay. So what made you, like you've obviously put in a lot of time and effort, right, into
Yeah,
trying to obtain, this degree. So what made you want to make the change into like going into technology?
COVID, man, it got us all in one way or another, right? It really,
Right.
I think COVID really changed the entire generation. The one that was coming, as well as those that were existing, like myself, young adults. When COVID came, like I mentioned with school psychology, you're testing children, so now you got COVID to deal with. So how you gonna, really test children. So, uh, really during the semester where I was trying to figure it out, how if I wanted to continue down that path at that particular time, but I also need to make some money. At the end of the day, you got to get that chili when it's about them
Right.
baby. You got to put some on the table. And I
Hmm.
knew I had a skill set when it came to technology that could generate some revenue for me and my family. So the deeper I looked into it, the similarities I saw between that and psychology. Like I said, it's at the end of the day, it's all information and data. It's how it's being transported, how it's being processed, all that good stuff. But so once I understood those similarities, I just went 10 toes down, and made a plan. First thing, you got to make a plan. You don't got a plan, man. If you don't have that stone and water, you get carried away with the wave.
A lot of people, that is a good point that you made, as far as like the similarities. A lot of people don't understand, especially like as they get older, right? And you do a lot of different things. A lot of people don't understand like how easy, I'm not going to say easy. I hate to use the word easy, right? But people
Yeah.
don't understand how seamless a transition you could make into tech based on your prior life experience.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm glad that you had pointed that out. So okay, you made a decision. You said, okay, hey, the COVID situation is happening. Got to put some food in the table. What did
Yep.
you start doing, like to identify, like, okay, hey, I see I can probably be successful in this arena, which is technology. What did you start do? What steps did you start taking to kind of get into that field?
Okay. Yeah, man, I'm really big on don't reinvent the wheel. If you see someone who's successful, if you see something successful that's happening, do your due diligence to study it, to understand, really what made that successful. Yeah, I'm not gonna say go out there and replicate it, but make sure you understand the trials and tribulations of what made that person successful. Then look at your own situation and see what similarities that you have with that person, or what qualities that are valuable. You know, and so so my whole thing was, I took some time. At the end of that semester, we're talking August. I talked to a mentor. Created a plan. November, I mean, I started studying for the CCNA, because I wanted to understand computers, networking wise. I already understood the hardware side. I just needed to know how they talked. And so
Right.
started studying that in November, man. I got my first IT job in January, you know,
Mm,
and then went on to pass the CCNA in April, So,
okay.
but that
Okay.
was all just a part of the plan. I created it, talked with my mentor, because you got to have, I mean, if you're not on the inside, you really don't know what's behind that door. So you got to, when you're creating a plan on, what you're going to do when you get inside, you got to have somebody who's inside, who can, let you know, like, nah, that's hype. That DevOps stuff, that's hype right there. You need to focus on this and that. And then once you have this, then, maybe if you want to pursue that hype, you can, but again, you got to have somebody who can come through that plan with you, and really let you know what steps are necessary. Because just like anyone, man, when you're studying IT or just technology, you can waste your time on some
Yes.
technology
Yes.
that's going to be obsolete. That the person who's selling you the course, they I mean, they in it for a profit, so they may not really tell you about emerging technologies. But someone who's doing it every day may look at you and be like, man, everything's going to the cloud, man. Like, why you wasting your time studying technology from 20 years ago? As,
Right.
that's super important.
Yeah, man. Like, you pointed out two very specific things, that I wanted to touch on. It was basically, talking about a mentor, right? I come from like a military background, and, having a mentor is very, very important. And, one of the rule of thumb, over there in that environment was, you should have a mentor that is like two pay grades above you and also 10 years older than you, right? That
Yep.
way, number one, they're not going to BS you, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a difference between a mentor and a cheerleader. You know what I'm saying? You could be doing something wrong and a cheerleader be like, yeah, rah, rah, yeah, yeah. But you're doing something wrong. You just want to talk to somebody that's going to tell you what you want to hear versus having somebody that's like, nah, you shouldn't do that. How you explaining, hey, you should be going this way instead of that way, so on and so forth. And then it's very, very important, like, and when it comes to tech and technology, right? to have a mentor, just like how Donald mentioned, so you do not get like sidetracked, right? Because you start watching YouTube videos, and you're watching this person talk, and then okay, they told me to go get the CCNA. Then this person over here said, no, don't get the CCNA. Go over here and get CISSP. Oh no, no, don't do that. Go over here and get this cloud cert. So you need somebody to like help you, stay focused and stuff like
And
that. That's
stone
very,
in the
very
water,
important.
man. You got to have a stone in water. For
I
real.
know that's real. Hey, so
Because
let's talk
technology
about like so.
changed so much, you know.
That's right. That's right. Hey, so you talking about your first IT job, right? So let's talk about that. So what role did you land as your first IT job?
All right, so what I was able to do, once I created a plan, I took what I was already doing in my everyday job, as a call center, workforce, coordinator, basically in which I'm monitoring systems and managing people, moving people to help alleviate queues. So I was already familiar with monitoring tools, endpoint detection tools, some Active Directory stuff. So my first IT role, I went after a senior IT support specialist, and I was fortunate to land that role. So in that role, man, I did a lot of help desk as well as working on physical desktop equipment. Whether that be
Hmm.
imaging it, checking a router, talking to the engineer, him telling me what commands to enter, type stuff.
Right,
Uh,
right.
yeah, but really that role it exposed me to some executives, the vice president, the president, CEO, all those guys, being on the front line whenever something went wrong or they felt it was a problem, being the first responder to that, and really that taught me I could hold my weight, you know. I'm
So
helping out the
you talking
president.
about like your help desk role. I want to talk about that, but before we talk about that, right? You told me something that was very, very funny, like off camera, right? So I definitely want the audience to be able to understand this. You told me that like when you first came into tech, you was like, man, you started looking at some salaries, like, man, you know what? Forget this little thing. I'm gonna go shoot for the moon, right?
Hey,
So kind of
right
tell
up.
everybody what happened in that situation, right?
Hey man, we all want to put food in the microwave. We don't want to
Hmm.
cook it on the stove.
Right,
All
right,
right,
right.
so I got caught up in the hype, man. I was looking at those salaries like you mentioned, and I saw the DevOps. It was hot, man. It was fish grease. It was popping,
Hmm.
and man, it was everywhere. So, you know, it was aligning with networking. So I was kind of studying both at the same time. But after
Okay.
3 months of studying DevOps, I can do this, laughing
Right.
it up. I feel like I can do this. So I'm not going to mention the company's name,
Yeah.
but, I got the interview somehow. And it was a 3-person panel. And man, I put all the stuff that I was learning on my resume, not what I knew, but what I was learning. Oh man, they asked me. I learned a valuable lesson. Don't put anything on your resume that you can't speak to, because they asked
Right.
me every question about what I put on that resume, man. Hey, when I
Hmm.
say I was typing in Google, I was trying to Google it, man, but it just wasn't coming up, man. But early on, they understood that I didn't know, you know, what the ins and out of the job, and it was a
Right.
horrifying experience in the moment. But then, I just opened up to them, just became honest, like, hey guys, this stuff that I want to learn, but I don't necessarily know enough about it to speak on it today. And after that, it became more of a learning experience. Them saying, all right, so if you want to do this, if you want to become this, like this is what you got to do. And no lie, man, one of the people like, if you want to become this, this is what you got to do. The first thing is not lie on your resume.
Right. So let that be, and that's a good lesson out there for the audience, right? It's like, some of these jobs, you look at these job descriptions and they want the sun, the moon, and stars, but, at least align your skills, as closely as possible before, you apply. Because one thing that people don't realize is like a lot of these companies, they use this ATS tracking system. And then, like, when your resume goes through there, right, if your resume gets rejected, the next time that you apply, they'll be like, oh, we already rejected this cat one time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's very, very, you need to be very, very intentional about what you apply for. Now, let's go back to, like, when you was talking about working on the help desk, right? And for those people that's watching, because we have people that's non-technical people, when you work on the help desk, so imagine like Best Buy, right? Like you have the Geek
Mhm.
Squad or something. People
Yeah.
walk up to you, they got a problem with their computer, and you're the person that solves it. So just like Donald had mentioned earlier, right? You're like the first person, you're on the front lines, supporting enterprise customers internally to, like, the organization and stuff like that. Now, a lot of people, look at help desk with a negative connotation, right? Even though it's like one of the best experiences you will ever have as far as being well-rounded in technology, right? But you told me another thing that you told me off camera, right? That I thought is very powerful for the audience. You kind of told me like, hey, when you went to the help desk role, even though that was your first role in technology, you went in there with intention, right? Intention on how to move up and move away. So could you please talk to the audience about that, about how you were intentional in taking that first help desk job?
Absolutely, man. I'll say it like this. There's like a proverb, an ancient proverb. Basically, a guy became a janitor because he wanted to learn about the company, and he got rejected for every position. So he became a janitor, and people were like, "Man, you got an MBA. Why are you, why are you a janitor, right?" Well, dude, he had keys to every office in the building, right?
Mm,
So he would politic with the CEO, get to learn the ins and outs of what he do, collect the trash. You're gonna look at his trash, you don't really get an idea of how the job, really flows. And later on, he became the CEO of a rival company, right? But
mm,
it was he took that position that a lot of people turned their nose down to, and he flipped
right,
that into the CEO position because it was all to him. It was about access to becoming what he wanted to be. And for me, when I was getting into technology, I was really intentional about where I wanted my career to go, and I understood that to become what I wanted to be, I needed to be around it, right? So in
right.
help desk, you touch everything. I tell people being in help desk is like being a greeter at Walmart. You see everybody. Everybody got to pass by you. You see everything,
Hmm.
right? And it's up to you to take that opportunity when you see it and really, take advantage of it if it aligns with your goals. Like I said, I set a plan. I set my goals so that I can move into networking because that's what I was learning. That's what I was labbing up, and I understood that being a help desk, I had the opportunity to be on the front line and troubleshooting networking issues. Because for people who are not in IT, basically what happens when you have an issue, you call them to the help desk to let them know what's going on. So if you can't connect to the internet, you're gonna call your company's 1-800 help desk number. You're gonna say, hey, I can't access the internet. And me, I let it be known from day one to my entire team. If it was a networking issue, I come get me. I don't care if I'm working on something else because that's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to be around. Like that was my intent, and they understood that. So they gave me those opportunities, man. To really to hop on those tickets, to talk to network engineers, to see the process from start to completion, right, to resolution, and having that intent, making sure that everyone understood my intent, man. That really helped me transition from help desk into my current role.
So like when you were working on the help desk, right? Did you like how helpful were like the upper echelon people? Like, you work at the help desk, so you're at the front help desk, anybody can walk up to you. And if you have an issue that you need to escalate, that's when you go to the people that's in the back room that nobody sees. So like how helpful were those people like when you were letting them know like, hey, I want to level up, and then giving you guidance and stuff like that?
Well, I would say everyone appreciates someone that does their due diligence. So I made it be known, once it hit my desk, I exhausted everything that I could possibly do. And you got to have humility too, man. You got to be able to tell people what you don't know and what you want to learn. and just being open, transparent, having that humility, doing my due diligence. Every time it went to an engineer, I always got great feedback. I was one of those people that I would stay on the call. I would let them know that I'm gonna hang out here. I won't barge in, but if I can help, let me know. And I would keep reminding them because those calls, they would go on for like 2 hours. So every 15 minutes, I'm hey, I'm here. Hey guys, what's I'm whatever I can do. If I need to send some ping commands, if I whatever, just let me know. And eventually it got to the point to where instead of me reaching out to them, like something new would come across and they'll reach out to me, because I was
Mm.
like the sidekick. I was every superhero need a sidekick. And I was like everybody's sidekick, like, hey, man, grab Donald, tell him to do this, this, and that. Like, boom. But one thing I will say, again, being intentional and having a plan. When you're doing something that's new and you don't understand it, have that humility to ask questions. So if they give me something new, I'll be like, hey man, what's this? Straight up, I don't understand it. Like, just give me an
Right.
overview and like, where to start, and I'll take it from there. And just having that attitude and that mindset was important.
Hey, that's great, man. That's great. So now, right? So going back to that intention, you went to the help desk role with intention to level up and leave, right? So talk to the audience about like the process of like how long you worked on the help desk before you made that decision, and then the steps you took to land in your current role.
All right, yeah, I worked on the help desk for in total about 6 months. It was what I did again. I made myself visible to everyone, so that everyone understood where I was on my journey, and like if I got to the point to where I was working 10 networking tickets, I would let somebody know, like, hey man, I'm killing it this week. you know, that the CEO who had trouble getting into their PC, because of DHCP, like that was me. Yeah, I did that, and just not in a braggadocious way, but a way to let people know, hey man, I'm progressing. Because you gotta let people know that you're progressing. You got to put your
Yes.
name on stuff. That's important. If I can say anything, like, man, be proud of what you do. Right? When you accomplish just a task or whatever it is on the help desk, make sure upper management know if you had that opportunity. And my director, he was a really good guy. He was always accessible. He would always give me feedback whenever I asked for it. And he saw it. And one day, man, he just said, "Man, you need a recommendation." And this is the director of the company, and
Mm-hmm.
he gave me that recommendation, man. And yeah, I mean, it really changed my life. It was something
So
that I wasn't looking for, but like it found me.
So from that recommendation, that's how you landed your current role from the director of the company, seeing how how much hustle you had and everything.
Yeah. So I give you the story outside of work, right? So while all this is going on, while I'm learning stuff on the job, outside of work, man, I'm labbing every day. I'm getting the AWS free tier. I'm building up
Mm-hmm.
EC2 instances. I'm building up Open VPN servers on the EC2 instance so that I can build out, VPN. I can understand how IPsec work and things of that nature. I'm installing Linux on my virtual machines on my desktop at
Mm-hmm.
home. I'm taking every free avenue possible, while I'm at home. And so once I got the letter of recommendation from him, man, it it let me know that this could really happen. It was a point
Right.
in my life where you start reaching burnout, and when you start reaching burnout, you start really questioning yourself, like, should I keep going? Which is natural. And I was at that point. I was like, yo, I'm getting success, but can I really take it to that level that I envisioned? And I got that letter from him, and that was like, someone believes in you, and really that's all it takes sometimes. Just at least one person who believes in you and can and recognizing what you're doing.
That's good, man. So now, so you got the recommendation from the director, and then you landed the role of a systems analyst, right? So for the audience, right? Could you please, just imagine if like I was like 7 years old, right, and I don't know what a system analyst is or does, right? Could you please like explain to everyone and to myself too, because I really don't know. Could you please
Okay.
explain to everyone like what does a system analyst do?
Yeah, so a system analyst is responsible for the flow of information inside of an organization. So if I'm talking to a child, being that a school is an organization, I'll probably tailor it to a school. I would
Okay.
tell them that their school intercom system, system analyst works to set that up and maintain it, right? So when your principal is in the office reading off the daily agenda and you're in your class 100 yards away, that system, that telecommunication system is designed and managed by me. Also, if we're talking about the lunchroom, because you got to get the kids with the food sometimes, your lunch card and that scanner that the cafeteria worker has, I help design and manage that system because it's information.
Okay. Okay. That's very good. So like with the system analyst, like is it like a stressful type job? Is it like you don't take no work home with you? Is it like is it like top secret? Like you gotta walk in and leave your cell phone out here, like, can't get a hold of your family. What type of environment do you have to work in when
Yeah.
you become a systems
Yeah,
analyst?
so ideally it's a secure system to where when you're there, you're really locked into the organization, no outside communication typically. I work for a
Okay.
pretty small nonprofit, so we got a little less restrictions, fortunately. But when it comes to systems analysts, um, my bad, man, I forgot where we're at on the question. I was reading the chat.
Oh, okay. No, nah. Like I said, I'm gonna get to the chat, a little bit later. But I was kind of asking you, kind of like, what does a day of the life of a systems analyst entail?
Okay. Yeah. So a system analyst, man, you're touching software, hardware, and even the telecommunication systems within your company. Because with system analysts, with systems and with information systems specifically, is really just a systems that design to to collect, process, store, and produce information, right? So, which is essential to any organization that uses data to help make decisions or to improve efficiency within their company. That could be something as simple as an email or your servers. So, with me, man, I start off my day by getting in, using a monitoring system, a network monitoring system, to make sure that our servers or any valuable assets are online and that they're able to reach the people that need access to them. So, a lot of coming in, using, some open source tools. I guess I can't really name them,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I won't name them. Using some open source and proprietary tools, again, to see what's on the network, making sure that it's up and it's available. Also making sure that, your endpoint, detection system is firing on all cylinders. If you identify a threat, really making sure that you're able to isolate the threat, diagnose it, eradicate it, and then monitor the network in the event that that threat is persistent. So I think that an information or a system analyst is one of those jobs that every organization needs if they want to exist in this, in this day and age. No matter how
Right, right,
big, no matter how small, it's essential.
right. Man, that's very good. So, like, put like this. Now, when you look back, right, when you turn back the hands of time and you say, okay, hey, I was going the psychology route, non-technical role, and then now I'm in a technical role. Like, what's the difference in your opinion? And then do you have any regrets?
Man, really the only difference is the pay. If I'm being honest, that's really the only difference. There's a lot of similarities between psychology and technology. Again, you're collecting data, you're processing it, you're storing it. and then you're distributing it. You're changing the form of the data so that you can distribute it to a target audience. So the transition was really easy. It's a lot of reading in both, as you know. Technology changes, psychology, man. Somebody probably just produced a new article while we were talking, right? That's
Man,
just
trying to keep up with
how
the
it goes.
with everything in the DSM. Oh, I think it's 5 now. Trying to keep up with all that stuff, man, it's crazy. But like when you said the pay, right? So the
Yeah.
pay, that's the biggest difference. Like, is it the biggest difference negatively, or is it the biggest difference positively? Like,
Hey,
could you
man,
please elaborate?
before I go any further, we need to pay our educators more. All right, just off top,
Okay.
man. They deserve more money. Yeah, there's no
Right.
reason I should be. Well, I mean, there's a reason, but really, there's no reason. I should be 30,000 more than a entry level school psychologist, right? Um,
Mm,
so I mean, that's if you're asking the pay difference, that's the pay difference.
okay.
I'm pretty
That's
much,
significant.
yeah. I mean, 2 years or a year and a half into my career, I'm on par with probably a 10-year, 15-year school psychologist vet. So
Mm,
anyone who's looking to transition, I would say go to Indeed to see the average salary. Um,
right.
yeah, yeah, but I mean, it's technology pays, man. It's valuable to organizations. What I do in my organization, if I didn't do it, people wouldn't be able to communicate. We wouldn't be able to communicate with our customers. Really, the organization would fall apart. We're talking the computers, the network, and the phone system. That the only way they're gonna talk is if they
Man.
got some pigeons.
So I got you. So basically, right. So now you've kind of like grown into your role as a systems analyst, right? So for those people that just joined us, you were talking about how you started off psychology, transitioned to the help desk, and then intentionally move to the next level, which would be the system analyst. So like, where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? Because a lot of people out there, don't have a 5 year plan, and I can just speak for myself, man. Like, I never even heard of a 5 year plan till I was probably like 32, 33. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like just to frame it for like the audience, like, where do you see yourself within like 5 years, as far as your current role and stuff?
Yeah, so I base everything on the trends in technology. So where I see myself in 5 years is a cybersecurity analyst with a specialty in network forensics for forensics. I think
Hmm.
that's going to be even more important as we start to open up the internet to more devices such as IoTs, uh, uh, such as to we're seeing what's happening in the computing world, whether that be cloud computing or whether that be quantum, computing, and we're seeing that
Hmm.
the traditional ways of monitoring your network, protecting your network, are going to change fundamentally. So I want to be a part of that movement. I want to lend my intelligence, my hustle, my effort, to really making an impact in that realm.
Okay.
The
Hey,
world's
and
about
then
to
like,
change,
what
man.
advice? Huh?
I said the world's about to change.
Yeah, the
That's
world
one
is
thing
changing,
about
man.
technology, for sure.
Hey, so what kind of advice would you give to someone who wants to transition or to level up in like technology? Like from the experience that you've gathered so far, what advice would you give to someone?
Okay. My advice, it would be to make a plan, to go over that plan with someone that is in the field or multiple people that are in the field. Make sure that you have some people that are behind that door that can tell you what's going on the inside. And once you have that plan, make sure that you understand that you got to have a sense of humor because BS is gonna happen. You know, that's just how it goes. You just got to have the mental fortitude to really stick with it, to understand that sometimes some things are gonna go your way, sometimes they aren't. Sometimes you're gonna get a response from a recruiter. Sometimes you'll get a response and the recruiter don't show up to the call. but you just have to, take that as a learning experience, right? And
Right.
then lastly, what I'll say is, if you're trying to transition into technology, it's kind of like building a brick wall. Like, don't focus on the wall. Just focus on laying a brick each day. Like,
That's great.
and eventually you'll look up and you'll have a brick wall. So instead of
Hmm.
doing labs for 4 hours one day, 10 hours the next day, and then at the end of the week, you're saying I did labs for 4 hours and 10 minutes. Nah, so instead, do it 30 minutes each day. You know, like any problem that you have, like at that 30-minute mark, cut yourself off. Because what that's going to do, that's going to make you think about that problem for the rest of the day. And that's really, that's going to instill or ingrain not only that troubleshooting mindset, but it's also going to ingrain a knowledge of what you're building, So cut yourself off at 30 minutes. For the rest of the day, just think about it, so that when tomorrow you come back and do your 30 minutes, maybe you've thought about it so much that you have a solution. So when your fingers touch that keyboard, man, you're just dropping in solutions. If that don't work, cool. Come back the next day, 30 minutes, but just be consistent.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, I think that's all we have for today. I definitely appreciate you, stopping by. I see Patrick Bell says hello. Great to sit. Great discussion. Hey, appreciate you, Patrick, for stopping by. I seen LinkedIn private user, had kind of like shared some of their experience. Like, hey, I would shadow network operations center calls in order to expand my knowledge. You did kind
Legit.
of touch on that. So that's great as well. But definitely, man, we want to, just say thank you for stopping by and sharing your knowledge and experience with the audience. And then, I encourage everyone, if you're on LinkedIn, go ahead and follow Donald Williams on LinkedIn, and then, tell them Trey sent you.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And before we go, to everybody, on this tech journey, man, just, stay on it, stay focused. Remember, it's new technologies coming out every day. It's people selling products. Don't get too caught up in, the hype. Make sure you do your due diligence, and whatever intelligence and effort you got to lend to this community, do it. No matter how big, no matter how small. If you find something that you think is a bug, join the community and talk about it. Be active.
That's right. That's right. Couldn't say it better. All right. Hey, so look, thank everybody for watching. If you could do us all a favor, please click like on the video and then share it wherever you on your social medias and stuff like that, so we can get the message out to the people and get more people encouraged about, starting a career in technology. Until next time, right? We'll see you guys later on office hours. Peace. See y'all.
Take care.